So, we have some news coming out from Empire Magazine about the Mandalorian and Grogu by the time of this recording. And if you want like our up-to-date, what are our thoughts on all the news coming out about the Mandalorian and Grogu, you got to make sure you're following us over on our social media accounts at COT Watch, specifically Instagram and TikTok. This is kind of where we've been hanging out more so than any others lately, but we're also on X and Blue Sky, not on Facebook. So if there's anybody saying that we're on Facebook, we're not. But that's where we're at. So make sure you're following us over there on our social media accounts so you can get those up to date. Because like honestly, I feel like the news was going to be trickling out about the Mandalorian and Grogu just about every day. So there's going to be something new to talk about. So make sure you're following us over on our social media accounts if you want like up to date information on that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of good things. So make sure you check out our social media accounts. Also, make sure you check out our social media accounts as we head into Maul Shadow Lord.
Yeah.
We are less than a month away from a brand new animated Star Wars show that I absolutely cannot wait for. This is going to be so good, Mac.
I know. I'm so excited for it. It's just around the corner. Maul is one of our favorite, Star Wars baddies, if you will. Where I love the range his character has and all that kind of stuff. So can't wait to see what's in store during that show. I don't know. I'm just anytime Maul, there's some kind of like magnetism that Maul has. Like anytime he's on screen, I just feel myself drawn to whatever's going on.
And very recently, some of the like Hasbro Black Series Maul figures, like we got to see a little preview of that, and so Maul is one of them. But then also Rook Kast is one of them, and
That's huge.
It is huge. But then also when you get a good look at Rook Kast and specifically her armor and armor color, it's not doing any favors in terms of killing the Rook Kast as the armor theory, because like the chest plate that she wears looks very similar to the armorers.
Yeah, like it could have, it's kind of I could see the armor she's wearing in that figure over the years and through trials and tribulations and stuff becoming the costume that the armorer ends up wearing.
But again, I feel like that would have to be like there would have to be like a radical thing happen to Rook Kast for her to become the armorer.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like because even in this episode that we're about to talk about, like I feel like the armorer is super sincere about what she's saying and what she believes.
Yes.
And that's not what I believe Rook Kast is. And at the time of Maul Shadow Lord, where she's basically Maul's like first lieutenant.
Yeah.
I don't see her believing those things at that time. And so like a lot would have to happen in between Maul Shadow Lord and by the time you get to the Mandalorian. Now that is a lot of time.
Like there is room for some radical, life-changing experiences to happen to Rook.
But it would have to happen pretty quick, I feel like, for the Children of the Watch to like even be a thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, the armorer is talking about like we, the Children of the Watch, all the time. And when she's talking about the chronology of some events, we don't know if like she's talking about the group, like kind of the royal we, or if she's talking about like, no, I was also personally there, a part of the group at any given time. So there's room to play with some of that. I think the timing of getting a big Rook Kast information injection into the lore right before the Mandalorian and Grogu is kind of it's a little suspicious. There's a little, it all could be a coincidence, or it could be a big red herring also. Because I think Rook Kast is sort of in the short list of people who could potentially be the armorer.
When we started the Mandalorian Rewatch back last summer, like after Andor, we started this Mandalorian Rewatch with the Clone Wars. Yeah, I know it honestly feels like that. We went back and revisited all the Mandalorian focused episodes of the Clone Wars, and it's easy to forget that Maul was Mandalore, like the title for a little bit. Like he ran Mandalore. Like he was the ruler of Mandalore.
By all rights, he did that like legally, like within the rules of the culture and everything.
Yeah.
Like he took the Darksaber from Vizsla in single combat, won it fair and square. Like so it's not just like a technicality thing. He by all rights was the legal rightful ruler of Mandalore at one point. So
and like so to me it is interesting, even if there isn't like a direct connection and Rook Kast is not the armorer. It is still interesting that Maul Shadow Lord's coming out a month before the Mandalorian and Grogu. There's just like a connection there that most people won't be aware of, especially watching the movie. But it is kind of like, oh yeah, he used to run that entire planet and be in charge of all the Mandalorians.
It would be insane if it didn't come up, Like I think we'll get some new lore on
in Maul Shadow Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with the Rook Kast being in it. Like I just kind of feel like there are some Mandalorians still loyal to him. Obviously she is, but she might not be the only one.
Right.
And so I'm really interested to see that aspect of the story as well. And I cannot wait to be covering it. We will be covering it. It's 2 episodes a week for a whole month.
Yep.
And so that's going to be our schedule, is that we will have an episode breakdown on the 2 episodes after it comes out. And then tentatively, we are planning on Saturdays to have kind of these Mandalorian and Grogu hype episodes where while Maul Shadow Lord is still going on, we don't want to forget, like, we are on a journey to the first Star Wars movie in 6 years. And so we don't want to ignore that. So we're going to be talking about certain things about the movie, whatever brand new news is out for that week. We're going to be hitting. We'll maybe take some like voicemail theories, discuss those type of things. So we'll have like Maul Shadow Lord episodes in the week. And then on Saturdays, what you can expect is just a fun 30-minute Mandalorian and Grogu hype episode, just to kind of get us in the mode for that, get us ready for that, and just prepare for that movie as we get closer to it. Because obviously it's like everything to us. It's our podcast literally started with The Mandalorian. So we're very excited. So that's kind of the schedule going forward a little bit.
Yeah, so just to recap, you'll get a big full breakdown of the Maul Shadow Lord episodes that came out that week. During the week, and then on the weekend you have the Mandalorian and Grogu hype episodes to look forward to. We'll be running down any news that comes out about production, or if they release any new footage, or all that kind of good stuff. We'll be running down on those episodes. So you want to definitely stay tuned. Lots of cool stuff coming. It's about to be a
stinky
very
lore,
Star Wars heavy couple months here.
Hot rod of summer, man.
Yeah.
Hot summers.
Hot summer. You are listening to Children of the Watch. I'm Mac Lacey.
And I'm Alex Maxwell. And today we are continuing with the Mandalorian Rewatch with Season 3, Chapter 21, The Pirate. We are 69 days away from the Mandalorian and Grogu. Nice. And if you're new to our podcast, we break down every single episode of Star Wars television, scene by scene, to analyze the story, find comfort Easter eggs, and explain how it all connects to the larger Star Wars universe.
Star Wars is made for 12-year-olds, and we keep the 12-year-old in us alive.
We for sure do. We for sure do. So this is directed by Peter Ramsey, and he did a fantastic job with this episode, and it's written by Jon Favreau. And Mac, before we even jump into this and go, scene by scene, part of me, when I was rewatching this, was thinking, this almost feels like a finale. The way that this is shot, the way the weight of what's happening, and just like the action, feels like a finale level event for the Mandalorian. And it almost made me wonder, had season 3 originally been planned as just a pirate arc?
Yeah.
And then they were thinking, let's do Mandalore season 4, but we'll seed it in season 3. But then they were like, no, maybe they got a directive, get back to Lone Wolf and cup. You need to get back to
Right.
that immediately. And so maybe they smushed those two things together, because it almost feels like this is the end of part 1 of the season, and then part 2 of the season picks up with the next episode.
Yeah, I definitely feel kind of what you're talking about there. This episode feels so climactic. And then also the falling action at the end is very
Finale,
finale like. You know, we're making some big swings, and again, I think it works as a sort of mid-season like, okay, we're gonna switch focus a little bit. We're wrapping some stuff up and telling you that, you know, we've got some other stuff coming down the line. But yeah, it's an interesting episode, and I think it is, you know, you can start to see some of those themes of where maybe things like original plans are all kind of coming together, and little pieces of them are making it into this episode. I even think about, like, I think there's pieces of the Rangers of the New Republic show that are big in this episode, that, like, you know, they may have even needed to include some plot points and stuff that they were saving for that show in The Mandalorian somehow, just to get you know, that the lore across, like the larger story.
Yeah, I mean, we get a lot of Adelphi base. Really, it's our first introduction to Adelphi base, which is going to be a huge factor for the movie.
Right.
It's introduced in this episode. So, like, this is exactly why we're doing the rewatch, and we're not skipping season 3, because we love season 3.
It's so good.
It is so good. And so this is actually doing a lot of setup for the movie in this particular episode, I thought. And I love it. I love everything about this episode. This is a super rewatchable episode.
Yeah.
It's one of those that, like, if you just want to randomly put on a Mandalorian episode, this is the perfect one to put on.
So, hot take, I think season 3 is the best season for that. If you're just going to watch isolated single episodes, and you want kind of a contained arc and you know, that full episode structure, I think a lot of these are fairly self-contained. Of course, there's pieces that lead into the next thing, but I think season 3 is highly serialized. And, you know, you can, there's I'm thinking about, you know, The Foundling is also an episode that I think is a great one, that if you just needed to show someone what The Mandalorian is about, like, here's one episode, you know? And this episode also, it feels like a tiny little 40-minute Star Wars movie, you know?
That's what I love about it. And it's just so good. The only thing that would be missing from it, if it were a finale for the season, is, like, I feel like it needed a sword fight between Gorian Shard and Din, like, on the deck.
Like, if he had to, like, fly the N1 into the Corsair, and then there's some swashbuckling happening. Yeah, some swashbuckling, I think, is the thing missing from the pirates in this episode. But
that, like, how cool. So then you would have, like, maybe an air battle. You would have the land things going on with the Mandalorians, and then Din literally having a sword fight with Gorian Shard. That would be like, money. Gosh,
I mean, it's kind of the indoor structure where you have the space battle, you have the rebels on the ground, like, getting the shield generator down, and then you have Luke and Vader and the Emperor and all that kind of stuff happening. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, that would be super cool. So, but that's if it were the season 3 finale.
Right.
So let's get into this. The recap fakes us out a little. Paz and Din are discussing Moff Gideon and instantly recalls their Darksaber tension. So, like, kind of just reminding everyone, number one, about the Darksaber, but then also, like, hey, remember, there used to be tension between Paz and Din, but they kind of worked that out last episode, as we talked about with blast points, and, you know, they buried the hatchet there.
I think they, you know, for that one little fake out moment that comes kind of midway in this episode, I think they just needed to remind everybody that, like, these characters used to fight.
They're frenemies,
but now they're kind of teamed up.
Yeah, they're frenemies. So also reminded about Navarro's construction boom, how it's really, really growing. Mentions of the New Republic, then of course Gorian Shard and the pirate threat, and it feels like political fallout is finally starting to catch up with everybody here.
Yeah, and I think that is something this episode does really well, is just kind of the practical concerns of the New Republic and how, like, no matter how well the New Republic is trying to do by all of these independent systems and stuff like that, it's a government, and it's kind of anybody who is not actively supporting and is a part of it is gonna kind of get they're gonna slip through the cracks a little bit. I like the way that it the New Republic, while certainly not being the Empire and certainly being a better institution in general, I love how the Mandalorian still points out that there's issues, and anytime you're getting this many people to work together and to kind of come together in the same thing, there's gonna be problems. Some people are gonna get left out, overlooked.
I also think it's just almost kind of like a warning of like, you can fight a rebellion, you can fight and do a revolution, but if you are still not vigilant after the fact,
right,
you're still in danger.
Right.
And like you almost have to constantly be fighting that battle even after you win. It's not enough just to say we won and now everything's going to go back to normal. You gotta fight for that normal every day.
Yeah, that's well said.
Yeah. So we begin on Navarro, and we see kind of the busyness of Navarro. Again, it looks great. It looks incredible. And inside High Magistrate Grief Karga's tower, he's literally city planning with what like Disney Imagineers. Like he is literally like, okay, we're gonna have the monorail run through here and all of the. And honestly, Mag, I guarantee you, if The Mandalorian had come out before they did Galaxy's Edge, I think instead of Batuu, it would have been Navarro.
Absolutely. I think they're kind of kicking themselves over that, probably, because I don't know that. I mean, it would have been impossible to tell and forecast how much of a cultural phenomenon The Mandalorian became, and just how universally beloved it is as well. Like, a lot of people who are opposed and fighting about other parts of Star Wars, kind of The Mandalorian's this rallying point that I think is a fair. And of course, there's people who are not as into The Mandalorian, but generally speaking, I think it's pretty much the most universally loved thing that's come since the original trilogy, probably.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So, I think they're probably shooting themselves a little bit and just seeing how like the cultural fall off of the sequel trilogy. And I'm not playing sequels
we love
versus
the
Mandalorian
sequels.
Or anything like that.
Absolutely.
But I do think that it's
not in the zeitgeist like The Mandalorian is.
Right. Also, The Mandalorian, just being a long form format, has so much more room to world build and give you all these interesting details about these locations that saga films can't necessarily just take the time to do. And I think that makes the storytelling of the world so much richer.
Well, and then narratively, I think it sits in a perfect spot for a theme park because it's so close to the original trilogy that you could have original trilogy characters there. You can have stormtroopers, like original trilogy type stormtroopers, walking the park and like just things that people who maybe even haven't seen The Mandalorian would be familiar with, of like, I recognize this from the original trilogy.
Right.
But then also it's setting up the sequel trilogy. It's not ignoring it either. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are happening in The Mandalorian that are specifically there to set up what happens in the sequel trilogy, very much like the Clone Wars did, made the prequels better. I think The Mandalorian and all the other Mandalorian verse shows help make the sequel trilogy better, right?
Yeah,
like it enriches it even. Yeah. And so I think had they known the cultural impact specifically Grogu would have, they would have gone that direction. I mean, because the marketing, like you could have Grogu, like in a version of Rise of the Resistance, it would be, like Fight of the New Republic. I don't know what it would be, but like, instead of Kylo Ren, maybe it's Thrawn or Moff Gideon or something like that. Like I could totally see them doing something like that instead. But I love what we have at Galaxy's Edge.
For sure.
If you haven't rode Rise of the Resistance, I think it's the best ride I've ever ridden. It's
in terms
incredible.
Of immersing you into a Star Wars movie, there's no other experience like that. You feel like you're on the screen.
Yeah. It's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
We do probably need to get to this breakdown.
Yeah, we probably do. So they're planning the city and Navarro is thriving. Everything's good. But then there's some commotion that happens outside and a shadow passes over the citizens and the pirate dreadnought looms above. And we enter Gorian Shard, a hologram of the moss-haired pirate king appears, very Snoke-like, where it's like huge. His face. I kind of love it because it looks like it's a puppet.
Yeah.
Like the way his mouth is moving. I love it. He mocks Greef, saying that he's a former guildmaster turned politician, and he references his helmsman being killed on Navarro. So back from the very first episode of season 3 where they took out the pirates, this is basically that payback that's happening here. And Greef says, "Your pirate shot first," which is a fun reference to Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Gorian says, "I will now shoot first." And here's what's interesting. Greef bluffs the New Republic protection. Yeah. But remember earlier, he was bragging that it was an independent system, that they didn't need the New Republic. So Gorian knows that. He knows that it's just a bluff, that this is not part of the New Republic, and he uses that to his advantage.
Yeah, he kind of like presses Greef a little further and starts. Greef has to actually eventually tell him what he means by all of that. And he's like, "Yeah, this one patrol comes through here regularly." It's like, okay, I think Gorian Shard can take his chances.
Well, I mean, we also get kind of an idea of what's going on with the New Republic at this time,
right?
Because Gorian says the New Republic can't even protect the Mid-Rim from the pirate nation.
Yeah.
So things aren't good for the New Republic right now, and that makes it super vulnerable to Thrawn. Like, just be thinking about, like, okay, we're going to be getting Ahsoka season 2 this year as well, right? We know that Thrawn is back in the galaxy at Dathomir, and then based on what happens in the Mandalorian and Grogu with the Empire, could he be drawing the rest of the remnant to himself? That means the New Republic is in major danger here. If they can't protect themselves even from pirates, what are you going to do against Thrawn?
Right. And, I think a lot of times when we're thinking about the whole, how the heir to the Empire events are going to kind of play out, we think of Thrawn coming to fight like a fully, a New Republic in full force, like a strong, secure government type deal. But I think this indicates he's coming into a galaxy where the government is like, in the middle of several other conflicts with different entities. I think Thrawn is going to have to fight the New Republic much less head on than I think sometimes in our heads we can build that up to be. I think the job in front of him is actually not as big as it could be.
I'm also interested because while we're on the subject, in the Heir to the Empire trilogy, in Dark Force Rising, I believe, he attacks Coruscant. And he kind of uses he uses mining equipment to launch asteroids at Coruscant and stuff and basically lay siege to it. I kind of wonder if he will do the same thing when he's back fully, because maybe that's the reason, they don't go back to Coruscant in the sequel trilogy, is because not that it's been destroyed, but it took a heavy hit from Thrawn.
That would make sense. It does. I think we've all kind of, moving the capital from Coruscant to Chandrila and Hosnian Prime and that kind of stuff. I think in my head, at least in the past, I just had that as them trying to get away from those Imperial roots and just getting away from, Coruscant being this superpower in the galaxy as much, and trying to kind of distribute that, that power throughout the Inner Rim and that kind of thing. But I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. Like, the reason maybe why they moved the capital is because Coruscant's kind of been destroyed a little bit. Maybe not.
Needs to rebuild.
Right.
I don't know. That I could just see that happening, and I think that would be super interesting. But we do go to Coruscant in this episode, even though
do,
it's not the
very
capital.
briefly.
It's not the
Very
capital
briefly.
right now, but it's still operating like it is.
I'd say probably the academy and stuff is still there. I would guess a lot of the military infrastructure is still on Coruscant. Because they have all of that kind of stuff is harder to move. I think the fleet may still be based out of there. Who knows?
Yeah. So I think that's super interesting. But then, speaking of Thrawn, Gorian Shard pulls a Thrawn-style execution on the city of Navarro and just starts firing missiles into the crowds.
Yeah. Just open bombardment. And that is Pirate 101, if you pull up to the city, start causing chaos, cause a huge scene, get people scrambling, and you can slip in and take what you want a lot easier that way.
Yeah. And I also have to point out Joseph Shirley's score here is really good. I really like this pirate theme that he has for Gorian Shard is really good. But I think this is also a good highlight of Grief's character growth, because in season 1, Grief would have bailed. He would have left.
Out of there. Yeah.
Right? Instead, he's getting his stuff to lead his people to safety, which is a huge character growth from season 1 to season 3. And you love to see it. I love to see Grief he's silly sometimes. Sometimes he self-aggrandizes himself. But when push comes to shove, this is a guy that you want in your corner. This is a guy that's going to take care of business, that's going to take care of you. And we see that on display here, and I love every second of it. So the pirates are raining destruction, and Grief is getting his stuff to help his people. And then we cut to black, title card, chapter 21, The Pirate. And then we open back up in Top Gun, Star Wars, Bright Ocean World. This is Adelphi. We are going to see this in The Mandalorian and Grogu. We see a Y-wing landing, which is great. I love Y-wings.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're probably the ship that makes the most sense in the Rebel fleet. In terms of actual real world practicality. Also, anytime anyone has X-wings in a hangar or based anywhere, they always pick the most amazing locations. They love a tropical locale.
Well, if you're going to build a base,
might as well build it on the beach. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
I wonder if there's any in-world engineering. I wonder if the humid air is better for engines or something like that.
Maybe
in atmosphere. Who knows?
Maybe. I like to think Colonel Ward, who we don't see in this episode, but I imagine she's there, Sigourney Weaver's character, just really likes the ocean and the beach. And so that's why she picked it.
Just salt life.
Salt life, man.
Yeah.
She's surfing right now. So we see an X-Wing launch. We see the Quinnesset huts. I love inside. You see Imperial helmets hanging like trophies. I think that's really, really cool. We also get cameos from Dave Filoni. He's Trapper Wolf. He's got a Cad Bane hat on, which is fun. Rick Famuyiwa and Deborah Chow, also pilots, which were pilots in season 1. So it's they're back as pilots. And Deborah Chow isn't even a director this season, but she came back for this, which is fun.
She is a character now. I mean, they've written themselves into the Star Wars universe in a way that maybe they got to come back just as actors,
which is great. I love that. I love the vibe of this place. It's really good. But Carson Teva is also there, and he ends up getting a message from Grief, and it's a hologram. And it's his plea. It says, if Navarro falls, it becomes a pirate haven. And he's basically asking, hey, can you please send the New Republic? I know we're an independent system, but we need your help. And if pirates take this over, that's a major part of the Hydean way, right? We know that it's going to be even more of a nightmare for the New Republic if they don't do something about this. Yeah.
It's kind of I know that we're not technically all on the same side, but it looks like we have a common enemy in this moment. So maybe come help us out.
Yeah, and then I remember when this happened, when we watched this for the first time, out of nowhere, Garazeb Aurelius, Zeb from Star Wars Rebels, just comes up right beside Carson Teva, And they
Yeah.
have this little scene, and he looks so good.
Yeah, he looks very good. It's kind of a difficult design, especially in how he's stylized in Rebels and stuff to translate to live action. But I think they do it really well. The from a craft standpoint, the CGI looks good and everything, but the design, the way they've kind of reeled him up a little bit, he's a very believable, like, I believe that this Lasat could be standing beside me at the bar,
Yeah. They did a good job with it.
And it probably makes sense to put him in this little scene, just to get the idea across to everybody of live action Zeb. You also get to test your effects and everything, test the model, get feedback on if people like him, especially if he's going to the big screen in the Mandalorian and Grogu.
Right.
Probably not a bad idea to get your feelers out there first a little bit.
Also, it's like he's the harbinger for Ahsoka, because this came out right before Ahsoka season 1.
Yeah.
And then, like, he wasn't in Ahsoka, but it's like, okay, well, there's obviously a connection with Rebels.
Right.
And now, again, with the Mandalorian and Grogu, and then season 2 is coming out this year as well. It's just like, it's happening again. And I cannot wait, because that crossover event, no matter what you hear of, like, it's delayed, it's not happening, it's happening. That crossover event eventually is going to happen. And I think it's actually going to happen sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see Zeb back with Ezra.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's going to be an incredible moment when those two, like, they're like brothers,
Yeah.
Like, I can't wait until they're back together again. It's going to be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's going to be good, man. Or just to see Zeb with Jason Syndulla.
That'd be fun
like,
too.
that'd
Yeah,
be-
like Uncle Zeb.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man. Yeah, so they have this conversation, and this is also kind of an indicator of, like, how bad things are right now for the New Republic. Like, not on the surface, but, like, obviously as us as viewers, like, oh, that's not good. Coruscant hasn't responded to dispatches in weeks to Delphi base.
Like,
What?
they're really in over their heads, I think. Like, stretched thin. It's like, where are they in the disarmament process at this point?
That's I think that's part of what we see when Teva goes to Colonel Tuttle, which is Tim Meadows. They're like, that's all they're focused on. Is disarming and, like, getting rid of things and trying to sort through everything that the Empire had.
And, like, I get why you don't,
for sure.
The first step in making sure the New Republic doesn't become a new empire is getting rid of that Imperial war machine that, allowed the Empire to have such a tight grip on the galaxy.
Right.
But you're also trying to govern a galaxy filled with pirates and Imperial remnants and First Orders and all kinds of stuff, So, like,
Right.
I think I get it why spiritually it's such an important thing to do, and, like, for the future of democracy in the galaxy and all that kind of stuff. It's like, but it's clear it's causing issues, and there's struggles, growing pains with that.
Yeah, it's just, and it's hard too, because, after watching Andor and to see Mon Mothma specifically and all the struggles that she went through, and now it's like, this is what it became. Like, all that fight is what this is. It's becoming this. That's incredibly frustrating, but it's incredibly real.
It's incredibly real.
Like, as good as, like, government is for people, like, the idea of government is good, and like, order and organization and all of that. It's also incredibly frustrating and also incredibly run by human beings. In this case, human beings and aliens. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just,
Jabba,
it's going to be
human being.
It's going to be flawed. It's not going to work exactly the way that you idealize in your head all the time. And that's incredibly frustrating. So Carson Teva, good man that he is, our Agent Coulson of the Mandoverse, says, okay, well, they're not responding to dispatches. I'll just go in person. So he gets in his X-Wing and he goes. And so we end up going to Coruscant, which it's fun to see an X-Wing approach Coruscant. That is, like, a visual that we don't get to see
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, for sure. We're normally seeing people arrive in like shuttles and local transport and stuff like that. But just an X-Wing, which feels like such a frontier thing. Like we're always seeing them either in war or like out in the Outer Rim and that kind of deal. To see it juxtaposed against the planet-wide skyline is crazy.
Right. So Teva marches into New Republic acquisitions, and we see Colonel Tuttle, who's played by Tim Meadows. He hasn't even heard of Navarro. He's like, what are you talking? I don't even know what that is.
I love Tim Meadows, and like, I don't know if it's just because I couldn't stop thinking about Peacemaker season 2 when
Right.
he was on screen, or this character is not comedic, right? He's not cracking jokes or anything. I couldn't stop chuckling though when Tim Meadows was on screen. He just brings this.
He's giving DMV vibes of like
exactly.
It's like, I have to do all this. I don't really want to deal with any of this.
Like when the droid's putting the little tray on his desk and stuff. I don't know. It's just
it's good.
It's fun.
It's fun. But then Elia Kane enters. She's got her amnesty badge visible. And then they kind of have this back and forth, this debate that Navarro is in a member world of the New Republic and member worlds take priority. And Teva argues that there's stormtroopers, there's TIE fighters going on, Gideon, now pirates. And he argues that something bigger is happening in the Outer Rim. And it's like he's the one that's kind of lighting the beacons of Gondor here of like, hey, something's going on here. There's something maybe is being manipulated. I think that's the implication. I think we're supposed to be, I think the idea is like even the Hand of Thrawn in another galaxy is at work here of like the pirates, the remnants, like something is happening that they're not paying attention to. And Elia Kane mentions maybe they need to learn why membership matters. And Teva argues back, that sounds imperial. And Kane says, I was liberated. You can't blame me. Which is, again, I think this is another indicator of like some of the failings of the New Republic is that maybe they were too graceful with people.
Yeah.
Of like, they're being manipulated by former Imperials to...
From within,
within, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It's also interesting because, I think Carson is very accurate in pointing out that that's a very imperial philosophy of like, oh, well, you didn't join, you're not playing along, so we're not going to help you kind of deal.
Right.
Kane says, like maybe they need to learn why membership matters, but I think the actual way to point out to people how why membership matters would to go to their
save
aid
them
and protect them. I think institutions a lot of times get the whole carrot and the stick, like what's a better motivator, punishment or reward.
Yeah.
So often I think institutions, instead of actually getting a carrot, they decide to just use the threat of the stick instead of the stick. And that's not a way to lead or actually address needs or anything like that. You sometimes you do actually need to give people the carrot to show why you're in charge in the first place.
Right.
I think,
that's a good point.
I like these conversations because I think something huge in season 3 is to show where the New Republic is, its flaws, its struggles, but like why it matters and is better than the Empire and that kind of stuff. And these little scenes where you just get some battling ideas and stuff, I think are so interesting for just showing how that works practically.
And then, I'm thinking about the movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, and thinking about how much the New Republic is struggling. And we know that Din is working for them specifically now. And if this is an underworld focused movie, what is the underworld up to? And like, how is that corrupting the New Republic at all and making things difficult for the New Republic? And so I think that's another factor that we'll see probably in the movie on May 22nd in 69 days. So Teva has a warning. He says something dangerous is happening in the Outer Rim. By the time it's big enough for you to act, it'll be too late. But nobody's listening to him.
Yeah.
Nobody's paying attention to what he is saying. And so Teva ends up tracking the covert. And then he lands on the planet. The Mandalorians aim their rifles at him. Paz comes out and he says, "Clear out, blue boy."
I love that. I think it's so funny. Especially when Paz is dressed head to toe in blue and Carson's not wearing any, when he's like, "Clear out, blue boy." It's just it's like calling Superman the big blue boy scout. That kind of it's like, all right, goody two shoes. Like,
exactly.
Get out of here.
Exactly. But it's R5 is exposed as the tracker. Like that's how Carson Teva found the covert, is because R5 basically is like, "Hey, yeah, we're right here."
We'll get a comic about how Skippy the droid is force sensitive and knew that the force needed him to call out to Carson Teva and reveal the location of the covert.
Yeah, and now the entire covert may need to relocate, and they're talking about that in front of him, like, well, not if we kill him. I don't think that we have to relocate, so maybe we just kill him right here. But that's when Din comes out and kind of like is trying to calm things down, like, "Hey, you need to leave. He helped me once, but you also need to get out of here because they're not cool about you guys." So Teva gives Din the message from Grief, and Din asks why he really cares. And Teva says this: "The New Republic has to know the Empire is growing again." And the resistance theme plays a little quietly as they have that conversation. Again, just setting up that sequel trilogy aspect of the First Order. We don't know how the Remnant becomes the First Order. We did talk about that 2 weeks ago with Gustavo from Triad of the Force, of how that could happen, how that could play out. But we haven't seen it happen yet. So.
Yeah. I love this stuff that they include in The Mandalorian just to set up everything in the sequel trilogy, and all the connective tissue it adds just really enriches that. Like also the believability of somehow Palpatine returns. Our real world is making that seem just so much more likely and plausible without much explanation. But all of these little things just add to the mountain of motivations and stuff for the First Order to come back and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. So inside, later, Din has to basically debate and say, this is why we should go help Navarro. So they're all kind of at this almost like council meeting, and Din speaks. And
this is like my favorite scene in this episode, I think.
He has to hold the hammer to talk.
It's like a talking stick.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that we're seeing kind of how like the municipal structure of the tribe works and that kind of stuff. Like how do they actually make decisions as a group and that kind of thing. I just love it. I love it.
Yeah. For sure. And so he mentions that the Empire destroyed their covert, number one, right? Like this is a chance for us to strike back. And it's not Grief's fault that it happened. It was the Empire that did it.
Right.
Grief offered them land so they would have somewhere better to live. And we know where they're living right now based on the previous episodes from the season, not ideal.
Yeah.
Right.
Got kaiju galore.
Right. And maybe it's time to live in the light and let their children play in the sunlight instead of hiding all the time. And then he sits down close to Bo, and then Paz gets up to speak. And you're thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Right. Like he hates the New Republic. He hates coming out of hiding. Like he is a big proponent of hiding in the shadows. And you expect the opposition. Instead, he supports Din, I love what he says. He's because we are Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Is basically his whole like, no, we're going to do this because we are Mandalorians. We've forgotten who we are. Let's remember who we are. Let's do this.
Yeah. It's such a good moment. It's such a love the rallying cry. And it's, it's reminding everybody like, hey, we've been looking at this in terms of like, this is going to cost our like some of our lives. It's a big sacrifice for, not like for people that we don't really have a real connection with and all this kind of stuff. But Paz just kind of taking a step back and reminding everybody like, this is what we do. Like we are warriors. Like our whole culture is designed to make us the most fearsome fighters in the galaxy. Like, it's only a sacrifice if any of us die, and that's a skill issue. So let's do it. You know, and it's it's just like, we're gonna do this. We're not gonna think about what it's gonna cost, but we're gonna think about like the gain and the future that we're trying to build. It's great.
It does feel like a finale moment too, of like these specific Mandalorians, the Children of the Watch, have learned growth of like, it's time to stop hiding. Like, it's time to show people who we actually are. We are Mandalorians. Yeah. Let's do this. It's a chest beating moment. And like, everyone's like, if Paz is in, I'm in. Well, let's do this.
Like, if like our two fighting dads of the group can both agree that this is the thing to do, I guess this is the thing to do.
This is the thing to do it. And so, yeah, he's going to fight beside Din and Bo. This is the way. And then we get the Battle of Navarro. We get a planning session in hyperspace. And they're kind of overlooking the city and what to do. Din distracts the snub fighters and the Corsair. That's his job. Bo is going to drop the strike teams, and they're going to have a coordinated assault, and this is going to be incredible. And then we get it.
It's so good.
They drop out of hyperspace, and this is maybe my favorite moment, to see all the Mandalorians in the drop ship and like waiting to like just fall out.
Yeah.
It's everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
From Mandalorian. This is like the moment. This is so cool. I love every second of it.
It's amazing. This whole sequence, just watching the Mandalorians work together, them really getting to, you get a sense of like every single one of these people is a force to be reckoned with. You know, you get to see everybody do something cool. And I also love it because it's like, this is the first time that the Children of the Watch are really fighting in their full capacity as like Mandalorians, you know, with the gauntlet and getting dropped in and this full military tactical approach. And it's with like Bo's leadership and influence, it's the Children of the Watch getting to realize the fullness of their abilities and everything they are too. Yeah. It's a cool moment.
It's so cool. Even better is the leader of Team 2 is Blue Helmet, White Stripe, and we finally hear him speak in this episode.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So you got two strike teams kind of on the ground. Blue Helmet, White Stripe, left side is leading one of them. Of course, he's leading a team.
Yeah.
Of course. The Kowakian monkey lizards are helping the Mandalorian. They're kind of directing where
like
the Mandalorians
out
to go.
Where an ambush is and
exactly.
stuff. I love it.
Which is also, again, a sign of the health of the city of Navarro, because in season 1, episode 1, we saw them literally on a spittle.
Yeah, rotisserie chicken style. Yeah.
No, now they're actually like helping defend Navarro. Paz jetpack slams into ambush.
Yeah.
We get an incredible moment where in the tower, the pirates have kind of set up a sniper and like a sniper like roost, and the armorer joins in the fight. Like, I kind of thought she would stand back and not be a part of this whole battle. No, she gets in the mix too.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely incredible. Like, when she joins, she's just murking people with her hammer.
The hammer and tongs go crazy.
Man, and she takes them all out, and she kind of like slowly emerges kind of like on the balcony to let the Mandalorians know like this has been taken care of.
Yeah, she does it Star Wars Outlaws style, where she's coming up from behind everybody, and somehow 20 feet away, somebody doesn't notice that someone's just had their skull cracked in.
It's so cinematic, this whole thing.
It's awesome. And I love that it's like she has this singular purpose in doing this. Like, she doesn't get up there and then get on the cannon and join the fight. She's like, this is not a balanced fight. I'm going to even the odds and then kind of step back out, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like she's watching her team do their thing from the top.
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's cool. I love it.
It's cool. And then in the air, Din and Bo take out the Corsair engines. They take out all the fighters except Vane. And they really draw the Corsair away from the city, so they don't have that air support. And just to watch those two go at it is so cool. Again, the only change I think I would have had is a sword fight against Gorian Shard would be so sick. But
like I would have had Gorian Shard survive so we could get him
100%.
again, because I love this pirate crew. I love.
I mean, I would have had Gorian Shard as a major villain in Skeleton Crew. I think.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he
absolutely.
seems to fit in Skeleton Crew pretty well. I think he would have been a fun addition.
Yeah.
But we don't see him actually die. We do see his ship go down in flames. So I guess there's always a chance in Star Wars if you don't see him die, and even if you do,
it's a pretty big explosion.
It's pretty, and he's
big explosion.
He's also Moss, so I don't.
Yeah,
I think that's
I'd imagine
flammable.
he'd go up pretty quick.
I don't think he survives that, but it's such a great action sequence. It's super rewatchable, very cinematic.
Yeah.
And the good guys win here. And so then we cut to Grief, ceding the Western lava flats to the Mandalorians. And he says, you may no longer have a home planet, but you now have a home. And again, to me, it's like, man, that's something you could rest a whole season on and wait until next season to do the Mandalore thing. I don't even think you need Mandalore anymore. Like, just everyone moved to Navarro.
Well, they're building a. I feel like I use the word spiritual with the Mandalorians so much, but it's the best word to describe stuff. I think they're building a spiritual Mandalore instead of the planet, where like they used to be all united through their home world. Now that that's gone, they have to construct this new identity that everyone can be a part of and be united by. And so like. Again, it's maybe they don't have a home world anymore, but it's constructing that new home. And I think this episode and last episode in particular show that like that new spiritual home includes all Mandalorians. It's the Children of the Watch. It's the mainstream Mandalorians. It's everybody. And I love the next little bit. The next little bit is the most surprising part of the episode, I think. Bo's conversation with the armorer.
Yeah, so basically Bo is summoned to the armorer, and what's interesting here is like how subservient Bo is to the armorer.
Yeah.
Of like the armorer has a much bigger, almost like you said, spiritual presence than like Bo even has to answer to her, because she is kind of like the shaman of the tribe. She is even though she's not the leader, like everyone kind of recognizes Bo-Katan as the leader of Mandalore, she is like the spiritual head of the Mandalorians.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot in Mandalorianism that's inspired by like Viking culture. And I think of like a Jarl being this war chief and having all these people under him, but then having their like soothsayer or their seer. Who's kind of like the shaman advisor to the chief or whatever, to interpret omens and signs and take care of like that aspect of things, right? So it's Bo-Katan is the leader and kind of the chieftain of the tribe, but she has reverence and respect for the armorer, and I think is looking to her for guidance as well. Yeah, exactly. It's the whole Merlin thing again.
Yeah.
Just in that like archetypical role, in a Joseph Campbell sense.
Right. Yeah. I love it. And so they're taken back underground, back to where the Mandalorians used to live back in season 1 on Navarro. And they're taken to the old forge, and they have that conversation there, and the armorer is reflecting. She's seen the great forge on Mandalore, and she's heard hundreds of hammers ringing, right? Like you get this almost dwarf Lord of the Rings feel from it a little bit, right? Like especially when you think about the Mines of Mandalore and the Mines of Moria, right? There's that kind of aspect of it. But then the most shocking thing is the armorer says, remove your helmet. And Bo-Katan is taken aback. Like, what? You want me to remove my helmet? And it's a stunning moment. And she explains it's not enough for a few to walk the way. All Mandalorians must walk it together. And I think this was a huge moment for the Armorer to see Bo-Katan is as much Mandalorian as we are.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was a huge growing moment for the Children of the Watch as well. And I think, this is really important that we revisit season 3, because I think this is the moment where it's okay for Din to take off his helmet. Whether he chooses to or not, this is kind of the moment where it's like, hey, yeah, we're going to practice Mandalorianism this way, where we're going to keep our helmets on. But if you do choose to take it off, it doesn't make you non-Mandalorian anymore.
Right. It's opening that idea. It's kind of opening the doors to everyone else being part of the way. It's realizing, I love the Armorer's speech about, I've seen the huge great forge on Mandalore with all of its like ornate, it's this regal, huge thing. And then there's this forge. It's really simple. It's in, it's underground in hiding, but they're both the same thing. They look different. Things are, they're in different environments, but ultimately they're both producing this sacred thing for the Mandalorians, which is armor. Yeah. I think she's comparing the Children of the Watch, and like the Children of the Watch is probably the covert forge. It's kind of this, it's simpler, it's older, and then you've got the Great Forge, which is this, difficult to say which forge is what, but the idea being things can look different, act different, be in different environments, but as long as the core as long as those things are united in their core purpose, they're the same thing. They're both forges. And I think that's what she's saying about the Children of the Watch versus mainstream Mandalorianism. We're all Mandalorian, even if stuff looks different. The kind of the dressing is different. We're all the same thing. We can all work together to accomplish this same goal.
And I also think that this whole thing that happened on Navarro was a proving point to the Armor of like, it can be done. Like we can work together. We can like retake something. This is who we are. This is what we do.
Yeah.
Warfare is what we're good at, Right. And so it's like, it actually can be done and we can work together. And so that's why she says, hey, it's more than like all Mandalorians must walk together. Bo walks both worlds. She's the one that must unite them.
Yeah.
And then she says, it's time to retake Mandalore.
Boom. So we know now what kind of the rest of the season's going to be about. We know what the goal is. All the Mandalorians are united in this one pursuit, and that's exciting.
Yeah. That's the next episode we're going to do next week is Guns for Hire. That's why it was so jarring. I think the first initial watch was like, we're going to go take Mandalore. Let's do it. And then all of a sudden
Jack Black and Lizzo.
Yeah, it's so jarring.
Yeah.
But I am going to say, because I've already rewatched that, we're going to actually we're recording these a little early. It's such a good episode. On rewatch, especially like without the expectations of like retaking Mandalore, all of that.
Of course.
I can't wait to talk about that because I think that was the most negative or critical we've ever been about The Mandalorian was that particular episode. But now without the weight of everything that's coming after, and the expectations.
We can just appreciate it for what it is.
Exactly.
And,
It's a Clone Wars episode. It's literally a Clone Wars episode. So I'm excited to talk about that one next week. So I really hope that you guys rewatch that one with us and talk about it with us because it's a lot of fun.
That episode is going to have like our breakdown of it's probably going to have a Patreon bonus episode feel to it. If I
would imagine. I would imagine.
So you have that to look forward to.
I would imagine. So then we get a little final stinger for this episode where Carson Teva is in space in his X-wing and there's a transponder beacon that's going off and they respond to it and they find a damaged Imperial shuttle. It was a New Republic prison transport, and it was the one that was carrying Moff Gideon. Well, it's been destroyed. There's dead bodies inside, but there's no body of Gideon.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is they find a shard of Beskar in the wall, and then you get this little question that kind of hangs over everything. Are you saying Moff Gideon was taken by Mandalorians? Dun dun dun.
But we just spent a whole episode getting behind the Mandalorians and getting they're our united heroes now. You can't tell me that maybe they helped Moff Gideon.
So this also kind of like, not next episode, but the next one's called The Spies.
Yeah.
We were like thinking in the wrong direction because of this particular moment of like, oh, is there somebody like working against the Mandalorians from the inside because it's called The Spies?
Right.
That's not what it is.
Nope.
This is the Mandalorians that work for Gideon. Basically, the same kind of Mandalorians that we saw in our Mandalorian rewatch with Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Those Mandalorians that have the Beskar alloy, but are pretty much Imperials.
Yep.
So those are a faction that are working for Moff Gideon, and they're the ones that took Moff Gideon out of the shuttle. But we will get there later. First, we've got to go to Plazor 15.
All right.
Captain Bombardier or whatever his name is, and the Duchess
or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
But I will say I'm very excited for it, and I'm very excited for the Mandalorian and Grogu. All the promotion is kicking up for the Like, I kind of expect Grogu to be everywhere. I kind of expect, BTS is getting back together. Grogu might be there in BTS.
Newest member of BTS. Nice.
Yeah, I think that would be great. He's going to be everywhere, and it's kicking up, and it feels so real. I kind of this is just me. I kind of do expect maybe another trailer whenever tickets go on sale.
Yeah.
So like the hype is building. I don't know if you feel it. I feel it.
I do. I feel it. Yeah. I feel it.
Yeah.
Well, we're very excited. We will be back next week, or no, not next week. Maybe even sooner than that, right?
So this episode, no, yeah.
Let's
So
talk about
this
schedule.
episode, no, it's next week. So this episode's coming out this is Saturday. So our next episode's going to come out on Tuesday, and then the next episode's going to come out on Saturday. And then our finale is going to be with Sky Talkers on Tuesday.
Yeah.
That Tuesday after. So
cool.
That's happening. We're going to finish it all up, and then the slate will be clean for Maul Shadow Lord. And then remember, we'll be doing those Saturday episodes that hype up the Mandalorian and Grogu. We'll have topics. We'll talk about Rada, his lore. We'll talk about Embo. Yeah. So
cool.
We'll do all of that, but it's just around the corner, man. It's coming up soon.
Yeah. Well, make sure you're subscribed to the feed so you don't miss any of that as we start ramping it up and everything. Remember about Anakin's Army and the Fight Like a Jedi campaign. We'd love if you'd throw some support to a listener who's going through a big fight. You can find all those links in the description and stuff. If you want bonus content and access to a cool Discord community, if you like what we do, patreon.com/Mandalorian Watch gets you access to all of that. Also, we'd really appreciate it if you'd leave us a 5-star rating and review wherever you listen. And don't forget about our review contest that we have going on.
I'm gonna explain the rules for the contest on Tuesday, next episode.
Yeah.
So get ready for that. But if you're on social media, you already have all the rules. You already know the rules. But I will wait to tell you the rules for our next episode on Tuesday.
Boom.
But if you want to go ahead and get it in the contest, follow us on social media at COT Watch, and you'll
learn how to do that. You'll learn how to do that.
And it's nice. I'm not gonna lie. It's our biggest prize. It's the biggest prize we've done.
Yeah. We keep trying to ramp it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So.
It's gonna be a good one.
Cool. Yep. We'll look for all of that. We'll be back very soon. But until then, keep the watch.